All right. Jennifer, you can start now.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, so I think we'll start off from where we stopped yesterday. I know I put something in the parking lot, so we'll get back to the VLOOKUP a bit later when I have full grasp of. I remember the other half of it. So this sheet is now we're looking at filtering and sorting. And in filtering and sorting, these are ways we use to arrange data in certain ways. Filtering, like when you have a funnel and you want to filter some things, you filter out. Now when you're filtering out sandy water or something like that, or a solution, the sieve contains, depending on the pore of the sieve, you're allowed to retain some items while the others is passed through the strain. Likewise, in filtering, you retain some data and also you display some data on your screen. So there are different levels of filtering. So there is the basic filtering, and there's also the advanced filtering, and there's also another type of filtering which we're not going to today. So when I have two different tables here, but they contain the same data, so but I'll use one for filtering. I want to demonstrate how to do sorting. So in sorting is different from um, filtering in the sense that in sorting, you arrange your data based on certain criteria. You can arrange it from largest to smallest, A to Z, um, depending on what you want it to be. So I'll show you how to do each task using the simple method as well as the advanced method. So first we'll look at filtering. So in Excel, there are two sections where we can add filters to our table. So right now I have this table, and it has it's basically the data for distribution of items, or yes, from different states. So we have the states, zones, and then the items that are we're looking at here. So to add a filter, you can either first of all, you highlight the heading, and then you can either get it from here, the sort and filter tab, and click on this.
Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I wanted to find out what I am seeing is conditional formatting. I don't know if it's the same for others.
Okay.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So conditional formatting. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me try sharing my screen again.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Apologize. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is okay now.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Okay, so let me start again. So this is to this sheet is showing two different tables which contain the same data. I'll use one set of one table to discuss filtering, and then the other one to discuss sorting. So yeah, I have a definition for filtering. So the filter tool gives you the ability to filter a column of data within a table to isolate the key components you need. So that's why I try to use the analogy of using a sieve to retain or to keep some kind of data, some items, while the others are hidden away. So in the filter function, you can either the first thing I like to do is I highlight things where I would like my filters to be, because it has to be at the top row, that's where the other data is following. There are two sections that I know that you can get your filter, activate the filter. On your home tab, this is your home tab. you can see the sort and filter icon here. So when you click on it, you can click on filters, and then you see this drop down menus here. The second place where you can get that from is from the data tab. You can see filter here as well. So it's the same thing, whichever one you choose to use. You can get your filter. So in filtering, like you need a common like denominator for some items. For example, um, you cannot really place a filter in this section. I expect the field to get much information because these are 37 states that are written here. Although if you had the states repeated, like if you had a list of distributions, I had acquirable appearing several times in on the table, you can apply a filter to show all the information for acquirable. So, but in this table here, it's not really possible because it already appears, there are already 37 lines and each state has a line. So it's not really applicable here. But let's look at the next column. In filtering, you can filter the state by zones. So as you can see here, you can select either north central, northeast, northwest, southeast, etc. So simple filtering, you can just, when you want to filter out all the states that are northeast to see the number of items for each of the states in northeast, you can just first uncheck the select all. So unchecking it means that you removed all the ticks so that nothing is selected. At this point, you can select maybe North Central, and then it shows all the states that where North Central appears. Okay, so apparently we could actually have filtered out the states. If you want to filter out Northeast, you can also filter out Northeast and see all the states where Northeast appear. Okay, and like that. So let's try filtering the first column. Let's filter out Adamawa State, for example. So this is showing all the information for Adamawa State. Okay, and you can filter like 2 rows at a time. Like for example, if you want to filter out North Central, no, Northeast, is to show you all the states you want in Northeast. But at the same time, you can also filter out you can also have like a narrower filter range. You notice that you're not seeing many states here because what is represented on the screen, on your screen right now, is just based on filter. It's showing you what is all the states that have Northeast and either in the Northeast zone. So you will not see any state that falls in the Northwest or Southeast in this now. So again, you can also apply another filter to this the column. You can apply, select 2 different states where you're seeing all the distributions for the states that you have selected. So this is basically for simple filtering. You can just filter out 1 or 2 items using the options you have on your main pop-up window. To clear a filter, you can either clear filter here, or if you have like several other filters applied, like I have 2 here, you can simply clear filter here, and automatically everything is cleared. So now we're moving on to advanced filtering. Now, in advanced filtering, you get to do a little bit more detailed work. Like you can filter based on the value in a particular cell. You can filter a range. You can filter based on letters or based on if a particular cell a word you're looking for. So let me first of all filter based on values. So let's look at anything in these columns because these are where the numbers appear. So under bags of rice, you can see all the numbers that appear. So, but this, may be difficult for you to analyze. You may not really have cannot have meaning to it. But if you apply a filter, you can actually have a definition to these figures that are here. So we can look at that through number filters and select different conditions. We have equals to, if you want to filter out anything that equals to a particular value, you can do that. If you want to filter out anything that's equal to a particular value, you can do that. So let's look at greater than, for example. Excuse me. So in this pop-up box, you can actually set your values. You want Excel to show you anything greater than, let's say, 500. So everything that you see here is greater than 500. There's nothing less than 500 if you notice. Likewise, if you anything that you filter in one particular cell affects the rest of the table that's adjoined to it. So anything, if I filter out something here, the states that have values less than 400, 500 will not show. Likewise, the other quantities of other products will not show once I do apply the filter. So let's try another filter, another value filter. So I can also filter anything that is in between a range. So that means I can have like something that is greater than or equals to, or less than or equals to. So I can set a range. I can say that I want anything greater than or equals to 200, and 600, and press enter. And it shows me everything that's between 200 and 600 is showing. And mind you, all the other values are not showing. If you notice, you can notice, look at this the serial number on the left here. Notice that it's not continuous. Some figures are hiding, like between 1 and 4, 3 is hidden, 7 and 10, you have 8, 9 that is hidden, and so on like that. So this means that since you have your criteria set to show you values between 200 and 600, everything else that doesn't fall in that category is knocked off. Okay. Another kind of number filtering you can do is you can say above, you can do top 10, above average, and below average. Now let's try above average. So in this formula, Excel has already calculated the average of all the values here, and then automatically it shows you the 61 items which are above average. You can set it to show anything that's top 10. Okay, top 10 items. Okay, you can set your parameter to be top 5. It'll show you the top 5 items that are here. So, and everything else is knocked off. So this is about filtering numbers. Let's try using this advanced filtering in words. So in advanced filtering, you can say a word, let's say a word equals to, let's say north. So it doesn't show anything that equals to north because we don't have north per se as a standalone word. So we could say contains. I can say, okay, let's look at anything that contains the word north in it. So now it show you everything that has north, that is northeast, north central, northwest. You will not see anything south here, southeast, southwest. So let's try another one. Let's say it does not contain. So we can say, let's show anything that doesn't contain north. So you've seen everything that has, there's nothing to do with the north, but showing you all the south values. Okay, so this is not everything to do with filtering. There's still more, but that is for like a much advanced level. So any questions on this topic so far? Hello, Samson. Hello?
Yes, Jenny, you are on.
Okay, is there any questions so far?
Kindly go ahead.
Okay, I can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yes, no question.
All right, thank you. All right, so sorting, right, according to the formula here, it helps you, the sorting tool helps you to sort items by dates, by numbers, by size, by letters, anything you choose to sort it by. So let's move to the second table. So I have this a similar table like the first one that we handled. And we can sort the items. So likewise, like the filter button, you can either sort here or also on the data tab. See the sort button here. So this is also sorting. What this means is you're sorting from A to Z, and this one is sorting from Z to A. So it's forward, backwards, backwards, forward. And depending on which where you place your cursor, you can either sort based from largest to smallest or to largest. Excuse me. Yes. So let's do an example. Let me sort everything in this column according to A to Z. So I can select this column here and then sort A. So what happens, what this warning box is telling me is that as I'm sorting this column A to Z, Excel recognizes there are other columns attached to it, close to it. Remember what Samson was saying, that if you put two tables together, Excel will think it's as one, so it's better to keep a space. So now Excel's asking me, do I want to expand the sorting to the whole table or just to be on this column? It's better when you're handling data to, especially if the data has like a continuous flow, to sort for the whole table so that you capture the correct information. So now I would say, yes, expand the selection and everything is sorted. So now my first state is Abia. It's in the southeast and it has this corresponding data. So I should expect my last state to be Zamfara, and which it is, and has the following data with it. Likewise, I can sort it backwards, Z to A. Yes. So Zamfara is my first, and then Abia is my last. Okay, that's for letter sorting. Let's undo. So now I can also sort based on values. So I sort and say I want the largest, the smallest to be at the top and the largest to be down. So I click on my sort button, sort smallest to largest. Say yes. Then this is my smallest value. It's in Katsina State. And my largest value is in Gombe. Sorry, not Gombe. Well, according to this, it's Gombe. And these are blanks. So Excel doesn't really classify blanks. So based on this, that's why these ones fall here. So, but my largest value now is in Gombe. So let's sort the other way around. Let's sort from largest to smallest. Yes, so Likewise, my largest is Gombe. And if you check down, you see the blank cells that Excel did not sort. Okay. So this is simple sorting. So we'll have an advanced method of sorting where we can sort based on different levels. You set your first criteria and then you set a different criteria. When Excel is sorting, it would sort the first criteria based on your first criteria. Once it does that, it's also arranged based on the second criteria. So let me show you an example of how we do that. So you click on this sort button. I can show you in both areas, in data and on this place, what to do if you are to use any of them. So when you click on this icon here, you click on custom data and it opens up this sort box, okay? Likewise, if you have to do it from the data source area, for your data tab, you see the sort box here, custom sort box, it opens up. So it's the same thing, but it's done in different places, but it's the same, it's still the same thing. So now I'm to sort my items by, so what I want to do now is I want to sort this table based on the zone first, then the state. And I would like Excel to sort this alphabetically for me, or I can set I want Excel to sort it so that everything else follows through. So now my first level, right? This is the first, that's what you're seeing here. It's saying bag of rice because maybe that's where my cursor was. It's here, but I don't want to sort it based on bag of rice, so I get to change that. I want to sort it based on zone. I noticed that you see the table headers is what is written here in this drop box. So I want to sort based on zone. So defaultly, Excel will tell you A to Z or Z to A. That's normal. But you can also add your own custom type of sorting so that you could to follow a particular pattern. Maybe what Excel would do is to sort out northeast, as if it's doing northeast, north central, northeast, northwest, southeast, south, and southwest. That's what it would do. But you can cite, okay, I want to look at Nigeria and go clockwise and sort everything. So if you're doing clockwise, if you want to start it that way, you click on this order and select custom list. So in custom list, these are the different kind of lists that are customized for Excel. So what you need to do if you want to add your own list is you select new list and enter everything here. So like I said, I want to do it clockwise. I'll start with North Central. Then going down to right, Northeast. Then South, or Southeast. South, Southwest, and then Northwest. Okay, so then I add, so now you're seeing what I just typed is one of the options that I've created. And I click on OK. So now my primary sorting is I want to sort zones. I'm sorting the cell values based in this order. Then this is checked so that you ensure that this heading does not get sorted, it's not part of your sorting, because if it's part of your sorting, it will leave its position and go to another level based on where the first letter falls into. So by clicking on this, you make Excel realize that don't include this heading in my sorting. So to add another level to to my sorting, I need to click on add level. Then I said I wanted to sort it by based on states. So I select state. And I want this one to be alphabetical. So I'm leaving it like this. And I click on OK. So now if you look at it, we said we're going to do is sorting based on my criteria here. This is the North Central that I had put as my first sorting level. Like see Northeast, then South, South, Southwest. Sorry, so I think Southeast, I missed it somewhere. South, South, Southwest, Northwest, and Southeast. Why is it doing this? Then let me check what I wrote again.
As there was a mistake in the north, is it the north or south? There was an H missing.
Okay, let me check it out. Okay. Okay, right. It's a mistake. Okay. So I spelled southeast wrongly. Okay. So, okay. So it's corrected now. So it's okay. Right. So it should be correct now. Right. So yes, this is the order I put it in. So also, if you notice that as you are sorting these the zone, the states that fall in that zone are also arranged alphabetically. I could also let's change it a little bit so like I can show you the difference. So let's look at this zone sorting of the sorry. Sorry. Okay. So I don't know why it's showing me the letters instead now, instead of the names of these cells.
Those headers are now included.
Yes, that's odd. Sorry, let me start again.
Try removing the filter.
And on this other side. Okay. I still not showing properly. Okay. Right. So I don't understand why it's doing this now.
Maybe what you do now, just select from U3, select from U3 downwards. Uncheck the my data has a header. Uncheck it now. Good.
Well, it actually worked before. I don't know why it's misbehaving now.
At this level, can you check my data has header? Let's see.
Okay. Change sorting. Let's see what to do. It's added the headings into the sorting and see it here.
Okay, see what we can do.
Hear me, please.
That sorting, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Click on that sorting, that top head, the header, and then unmerge it. Sometimes when you merge cells, it can create this kind of problem. Click the sorting as the header and unmerge it. In this your table, okay. So let's see if this will work now.
Can I do another thing?
Okay.
Still the same thing. Let's see what to do with this. So I'm still using, it's still the same things, but
you didn't check your this thing. Your data has a header.
okay. Okay, fine. It's better. Okay, I think it's fixed now. Maybe it's because of the merge cell, the merge row that was confusing it. Okay, so I wanted to show if I did Z to A. So now, thanks for that, Samson. Okay, so now it's still sorting based on my zones first. And here is the secondary zoning. The secondary sorting, I mean. So instead of A to Z, is Z to A, meaning ones closer to Z is the first, shows first, while those closer to A is last. So in each of these zones is sorted the same way. Okay. In the Northwest as well. Oh, great. My button is on. Okay. Okay, so any questions about sorting?
No question yet on the chat box.
Okay, so I think let me just run along. If there's any questions, you can just drop it in the chat box and I can answer it when we're done. Okay, So this was the last topic I was to take yesterday. So now we're going into another topic, which is called conditional formatting. Let me put my screen. You guys are not seeing my screen, right?
You can see it.
Okay.
No, you can't see it now.
Okay, I was sharing the wrong thing. Okay, let me share it now. Okay, so can you see my screen now with different colors on it?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So in conditional formatting, it simply means you create different kinds of you format your cells based on different conditions you give Excel. Um, Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So in conditional formatting, you have set for your condition, you set a format for on Excel, like you want to maybe make Excel to highlight certain items on the template. But they have to put certain conditions for this to happen. Like let's say you had a test score and you have 500 students in your class, and you want to say, okay, if anyone gets above 70%, that is called a distinction, and that's who you're going to reward. And you have 500 names to go through. You're not going to read through each name to find out who got above uh, 70%. No, you can use a conditional formatting to help you to identify who scored above 70% and give me a green color, give me a color code. So when I see the color, I know these are the people that I'm supposed to look out for. So in doing conditional formatting, we have the function over here, and it's quite versatile to use, and it has a lot of options. So we have some preset ones already that you want Excel to highlight greater than, less than, in between, etc., etc. But I think you would understand how to use these ones better if you actually did created each one by yourself, so that you know what these sections mean. Like how I think when I was to count red blood cells in school, I was given a particular slide that had grid lines on it, and I was told to count one by one. That is the manual way of doing it, but there's a machine to do it. So to understand that the final thing, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of how the machine works. So I think maybe this is what I want to do for everybody. So before you create a conditional formatting, you need to set up the rules for the rules that Excel needs to use to determine to follow your color code. You can do this by clicking on New Rules, and it opens up your options, and you can do lots with it, different things with it. Another way to get to this box is to click on Manage Rules. I prefer clicking on Manage Rules because if you're working with several levels of conditional formatting, it's easy for you to switch from one condition to the next uh, on this place here, because it arrange all your different rules and you can edit each one. If you went through the new rule, you have to clicking on new rule, and it's easy for you to lose count of how many rules you have if you don't come to this place. So likewise here, there's also a new rule which leads you to the same place that I showed you before, that is here. Okay. So now in conditional formatting, there are different types of conditional formatting you can do. The first one as here is you're formatting the cell based on the value. So what this means is Excel will look at whatever value it's inside here, and assign one color to the highest, another color to the lowest, and in between will be a gradient color, a gradient from the lowest to the highest color. So let us try, for example, my lowest, I can select a value. My lowest, the way I want to do is I want to have like, I want it to be the lowest value. And then, sorry, first of all, before I start this, I need to have selected the place where I want to do the conditional formatting. That is, I'm selecting this total column. I click on conditional formatting, go to manage rule, then new rule. So I'm showing you the first one. So, and this is showing you two scale color. Two scale color is basically you select two colors for it to work. So my lowest value, I can give that red color so that it shows bad. And then my highest value, I can give that a green color to show it's good. So this is what the colors will look like. This is how to range from red that is bad to green that is good. I click on OK. Then I say select apply, and I click on OK at this point. So look at it. You're seeing different colors. So 78 is the highest, so it's very green. While I think is 24 is the lowest because it's very red. So these colors will change depending on what value you put. So now, I mean, imagine I changed this 24 to 240 now. 240 becomes green and everything else becomes red because 240 is the highest. And if there was another value next to 240, it would be have a tinge of green more than red. But if you look at 80, 72, these ones and these ones, they're not exactly red. It's because they're closer to the lower value than they are to the higher value, and that's why they're not red. They have a tinge of green in them. So this is just if you want to now show the gradient between a gradient flow between the low color and high color. So another type of conditional formatting you can do is, let's change this one, is based on the cell value. Now, based on the cell value, you're telling Excel specifically to look at what's in the cell. You can tell it that you want to highlight everything that is greater than, let's say, everything greater than 40. And you need to set the format for it. I want everything, okay, let's use this example that's here. Anything that is less than 30. So anything less than 30, I need to type 30 here. 30. And then you set the color format. Click on format. So now once you click on format, it will show you this box. Maybe as you use Excel, you realize that this very often situations. Like yesterday, Samson used it and showed us this side when he chose the Igbo Naira and used it for his calculation. So likewise here, this is also for fonts. You will see this part when you check for the fonts. But what I want to do is I want to select red. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm to select red for the sales less than 30. And I click on OK. I click on OK. Then OK again. And then apply. So Select sales less than 30. Okay, fine. There's no sale less than 30 anymore. There was one before, but less than 30. So this was supposed to be 24. So if I change to 24, the color now comes red automatically. I did not color it red separately because of the value in the cell. That's why it became red. So now let's move on to the next example. So I'm highlighting my range, and then I'll move to conditional formatting and I'll manage rows. I'm adding a new row, and this time I want it to be, I want it to be between 30 and 50 sales. So I'm selecting the second option. Select cells between 30 and 50. Then I'll choose my conditional, color code, that's yellow. Okay, then I apply. And now it's selecting everything that's between 30 and 50. So now my next one is I want to select sales. I want to color sales that are greater than 50. So new row. I change this to greater than, and then I write 50. And then color it green. Okay, so now it has colored everything that is greater than 50. So another thing you can do is you can highlight items which are blank. So let's say this was data that was collected and quite large, and this person was missing. Sorry, this person's name was missing in the data. And normally when you're handling data on Excel, you're not giving 10 rows to look at. You're giving like rows that have hundreds of lines or thousands of lines, and you cannot identify this by just looking at it. So to help you find a blank cell, you need first of all, you need to highlight the range you're looking at. Go to conditional formatting. Like I said, I prefer using manage rules so I can see all the rules that I already have before. So if you have experienced this kind of thing and you notice that you have already put different rules before on this table and you're wondering where everything went to, first of all, search this row column, this instruction here. It's showing formatting rules for correct selection. So there's nothing, we didn't do any conditional formatting here. So that's why it's not showing anything. So if you want to see the other things you worked on, you could just see this worksheet and all the other rules you have worked on appear. So now I want to put a new row to select anywhere that's blank. So I still select the cell values and then I can change this. I'm not changing anything here because this is talking about the cell values, whether it is greater or less than or comparing two different numbers. So now I could also do conditional formatting for text, for dates, for blanks. So I'm looking for blanks here. I select blank and then I can choose a color. I think it's blue. Yeah. For my blanks. Then it will show me where it is a blank. Another thing you can use conditional formatting to do is to identify duplicates. Now, to check if there are duplicated names here, you can also find that out by clicking on new rules and then selecting format only unique or duplicated values. And give it a color. What color do we have? We had sort of peach color. Okay. So now you're seeing that it's highlighting all the names that are duplicated. So if I delete one, the other one now loses its color because it's no longer appearing twice. And then the other row now shows up because it's a blank cell. Okay. Likewise, another type of conditional formatting you can do is you can, based on the values that is here, make the rule such that it affects what is here. So you can tell Excel, anywhere you see a particular value in this cell, let me know who that person is, okay? So what you do is you first of all select the column where you are, you're setting the rules for that. You want Excel to look for first. So go to conditional formatting, manage rules, new rule. And it's this last option. Use a formula to determine which cells to format. Now, in this is a bit different because you're supposed to put a formula in, like in Excel. So my formula is first I'll click here, and I'll select my cell. Yesterday we discussed this dollar signs, and this will affect us in the sense that it has made absolute reference to this E5. So if I drag my formula down, everything to make reference to is E5. And that's not right because I would like it to not just look at this 78, I want it to also look at all these other numbers and affect the changes here. Okay, so I need to remove, that so that it's just E5 that is showing. So now when I drag the formula down, it flows down with and does the correct thing. So now I want to highlight everything that is less than 50. Let's use 50 as my benchmark. Less than 50. And the kind of formatting I like to do is I like to format only the text. I want to make it bold and red. So I click on format and I click on font. Then so that I select bold. You cannot change the size of the text in this option. Neither can you change the font, but you can change the color. So I'm making it bold and red. And I'll say, okay. But we're not done here. This is just, we just might succeeded in setting the rule, but we want to set where this applies to. So we're deleting this, and we're selecting this place here. So we want the rule to apply to this column. Let's click on apply. Sorry, it's not working. Okay. Sorry, let me take that again. Okay, so said that first of all, add new rule. This one. Hi, Samson.
Yeah. See, delete the rule,
Okay.
delete this particular one.
Okay.
Then where you
Delete
want,
the other
no, I mean that the last one we are doing now, this one that is,
one. Okay.
So what you are going to do is you are going to select this column where you have the salesperson. Exit, escape. Okay, so just select this salesperson, all of them. Okay, good. Then go to add the new rule.
Where?
No, add a new rule. Is it the rule that we're looking at now?
Yes.
Okay, so edit it.
Yes. So you want me to do you want me to do the other way?
Yes,
Okay, add new rule.
So now apply your formula on this total column. Equals to. No, just use E5. Let's use E5 is greater than,
Okay. It's less than 50.
okay, less than 50. Good. So get your format. So you can apply.
Yeah, this is what I did before. Could I just check it again?
Have you applied?
Yeah, I did. Okay, let me first of all delete all these rules. Maybe it's interfering.
Did you select the column for the salespersons?
No, not yet. And that one is afterwards.
You could actually go, okay, let's run through this.
Okay. Okay. So what is going on?
Um,
Uh,
Jennifer,
highlighted names. Mm-hmm.
now see what you need to do. Can we start? Yes,
Okay.
delete the rule.
Okay.
Now, I think, can you cancel so that we have all these names black to black, original? Okay, just
So
clear
in
the rule.
canceling, let me show you another thing. To cancel all formats, it
Yes,
should actually go
cancel. Clear all rules.
and clear selected rules, or you can either clear from the whole sheet or clear the selected rules. So that's how to clear off your format.
Okay, so what you need to do, the way it is highlighted right now, manage your rule.
Okay.
Then add. Okay, so yes, go ahead. Less than.
Less than. less than 50.
Remove the absolute referencing.
Okay.
Okay, so apply your formatting. Apply the format. No, leave there, just leave there. Don't copy this again.
Okay. Okay, fine. So, okay, it has selected it.
Just applies to,
So
okay, so
its colors
see
are
your,
there.
okay.
It's worked now. Thank you so much. So okay, so now you can see it has selected the names of those people that have less than 50 sales. So yeah. So you can actually do a whole lot more with conditional formatting. It's we have not really gone in depth to show everything. And I know it's very versatile for you and depends on what you want to use it for. I know particularly I like using it as a dashboard where I work to help me show the performance of health facilities. So we can also adapt it to whatever work stream you're working you have, and it's a very very versatile tool. So with that, I think I'm done with my own section, and I'm handing over back to Samson. But before I do, are there any questions from the previous session we had up to this one?
No one is raising hand, no one is sending a chat.
Hello, I don't have a question with the. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
I don't have a question with the previous sessions. It's just this last one, as in how to highlight colors based on the values in the other column. It was not clear
Other
to
one.
me.
Okay, let me go through it again.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm clearing the rules here. Okay. So what we did was we first of all highlighted this column because this is where we want to effect our changes. So manage row, and I'm selecting my row, selecting my new row. So this is I'm selecting this last option as I'm using this formula I'll type in here to determine the cells to format, which I've already determined here. So the formula I'm going to put is I want to make it such that this cell, I want Excel to, as it's searching each column, each row here, it would look at this value and check if it complies with my formula that I will put in here. If it does, it will highlight this name red. Likewise, if it goes to the next name to check, does it comply with my formula? If it does, to highlight the name. If it doesn't, to leave the name blank. So now I'm to insert a formula in this box here. And the formula I want to insert is I want to tell Excel to check for, for the sales for the sales less than which are less than 50. Okay. Okay. So if the cell is less than, if the cell here is less than 50, so I put my less than sign and then I write 50. So this is a formula I have entered. I'm telling Excel, check if this cell is less than 50. And I wanted to do the following. You can choose a color if you want to, like have it feel. You can even decide to make the border be different if you want to. You know, it can be of your own choice, whatever you want it to, the format to be. But I want it to be text, bold. I think I can even combine two or so. Let's try. I'm not so sure how that will come out. Okay. So in this box here, it's this cells that I highlighted is showing. You can check the range from B5 to B19 is here. So I want the formula that I put in the previous section. This is the formula to apply it to this box that is highlighted. I click on apply and select OK. So now what is done is it has highlighted all the names of the salespersons who have sales less than 50. Is it clear?
Yes, it's very clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you very much,
No one
everyone.
seems to be asking any other question. Okay, so we can still ask our questions through the email. Someone asked that question yesterday and we said yes. Okay, so we will just go straight to dashboard construction so that we'll see some of the things that we do when building our dashboard, see how we can link cells to objects, see how we can format them, see how we can transform them. And then we also see our guide when we are making a choice of the type of charts that we use. So all right, so I hope you can see my screen, Ram. Has it come up?
Yes.
Okay, so here, if we need to, because this training is all about how we'll be able to project our data, analyzing the data and then projecting it on dashboard so that it can communicate a message. Now, we have different types of charts, and the kind of data we have may not fit into all charts. We have bar charts, we have line charts, box plots, we have pies, we have, what's it called? We have donut charts, histograms, and several others. Now, because of the kind of work that we do, because discussing the entire chart, it's a very robust topic. So we are choosing the ones that we know that we frequently encounter or we frequently have need for. So when we want to show a change over time, say something has happened within the last 2 quarters, within the last 2 months, something has happened between this facility and this facility, we can use bar charts, line charts, and box plots. Now, if we want to show a path to a whole composition, for instance, now, the state will tell you it spent 500 million naira this year. Now you want to know what part of that 5 million was diverted to agriculture, what portion to education, what portion to other industries, and so on and so forth. So when you need to itemize those items, their contributions to an entire part, you use your pie charts. And when you are looking at how data is distributed, we use histogram, we use bar charts. Now, when you are comparing values between groups, say for instance, you have Northeast states and then you have South states. If you want to see how a particular data or value is distributed among them, these are the kind of things you use also. And then when you're observing relationships between variables, you use this one's mentioned here, the scatter plots, the bubble charts, and so on and so forth. Now, if you are looking at geographical data, now for this geographical data, it may not be all versions of Office that will have that. If I think it's Office 365 that has that, I don't know about other versions. I don't know about 2016, 2019 versions. But where you have this, if you mention state or country, say you have this state here, this is the value, this state here, this is the value, or countries and their values, and you go ahead to plot this, Excel will just bring out those countries from the map, and then it will bring out the map and then show you the dots and their values at their respective places. So this is what we have to guide you when you are trying to choose the kind of charts to represent your data on. Now, I'm going to, let me see, the dashboard. What is a dashboard? Simply put, it's a tool that helps you to manage information visually, and it tracks and analyzes your performance indicators. Now, usually these things are on a page. You can liken this to what you have in your car. You have your dashboard. Everything there that the car is tracking are displayed there. You can check for your fuel. Some cars may have a tracker there that tracks your tire, the pressure in your tire. Some can even tell you how long, the mileage that the remaining fuel can take you to, the distance it can take you to, and several other things. So look at dashboard in that manner. And you are the one to build the dashboard. Now, they also represent interactive data visualizations. For instance, with the help of pivot table, you can connect your reports. You can add slicers that will help you make it interactive and dynamic. So, okay, these are all grammar, but the key important thing is that the dashboard is what helps you to monitor the performance of your system. If the data that is coming from the different parameters are keyed into it, and then it visualizes on the dashboard. Now, I'm going to just take us through how we'll be able to develop or construct a dashboard using a very simple data. Now, let me see this. Okay, so for the sake of this, our session, I'm going to generate some data, and then let's use this. So let's assume that I have state here. I have, let's say ART. What kind of performance indicator are we going to use now? ART new. Okay, so let's say this is our target. Let me put target, and then this is achievement. Let me just use this achievement on ART. Okay, so here we have Abia, we have FCT, we have Lagos, we have which other one do I use? Okay, let's say this is all we have. Now, let me just use this. Sorry. Run between, let's say I have 100 and 200. All right, so I'm going to allow this thing to dynamically change, okay? So there are some targets that are surmountable and it is correct. And there are others that are not surmountable. If they are surmounted, it is an error. Okay, so for instance now, this, you can surmount this. For instance, here and here, you are giving target of 122, and you eventually initiated 171. That is okay. So let me fix this so that we don't have to be, okay. So I'm going to use this now. Say I am going to insert my column. What do I really want to show here? I want to show the performance of these states. Looking at their performance against their targets. So I can choose a bar chart, something like this. Now, my legend is telling me that the blue is the target. And then I'm not too good in color. Is this peach or whatever? That is the achievement. Okay. So looking at this now, I want to represent this on a dashboard. Now, let me create another worksheet here. So let me just name this dashboard. So I am taking this one, I'm either cutting it or copying it and dropping it here. So this is my dashboard where all my performance indicators are placed. Now, I need to make this to look different. Let me apply aesthetic features. So the first thing I can do in this environment is to come to view. I don't want to see these lines. I want it to be like a board where there are no lines. And this is my grid lines. So I uncheck it. I have removed that. I can apply to it. I can apply a color to it. Say I go back to my home. And now everything depends on your taste. So now the next thing I want to do is let me fix this chart. So I need to activate the chart elements. When you click on your chart area, these icons show. These are the different things you can apply. So within your own private time, I want you to just explore how this what you can achieve through this. But I'm going to look at this chart element. I do not want this here. Not that it is not right, you can leave it. But personally, I want to get my values on the series, the data values itself. So I'm going to remove my vertical primary axis is off. And then I'm going to apply my data label. See, as I hover this over, it's showing me. So, but I have other options here. This is the center. It's going to be at the center. It can come inside end. It can come inside base. It can go outside. So depending on your choice. Now let's go with this. Now I don't like these lines. You may leave it, but this is my own personal choice. So I remove the grid lines. Now, this title, personally, I do not want to type inside. For instance, I can just go ahead and type, and I say, this is a target versus achievement chart is done. But because sometimes I want to pick this, I want this title to be picked from somewhere else. So even if I change it, I don't need to come and change it here. I usually will link it. So let's go back to where we are getting our data from. It's from here. So I can decide to say this is, let's say, what name do we give this now? Let's say Havron ART performance. Let's say quarter 3. So what I need to do, going back to this point, I am clicking this, my, what's it called? The chart title. Now I'm going to click here so that I can link it to whatever that is in the other sheet. So I say this is equals to, then I come over to this point and I click this. When I enter, it has changed. It's speaking value from the other sheet. So if tomorrow somebody tells me that I made a mistake, that this thing is actually for another organization, I say, okay, I'm sorry. So I can simply come here and I'll write, say, this is Jenny dashboard. I've corrected this only one point, and here it is showing. Now, the next thing I want to do is I may decide now to give this as quarter 1 performance. Let's say quarter 1 performance. I can come over here and insert, let's say, I have my illustrations here. I can come over here and pick shape, whatever shape that I like. Let's say I like this one. I can drop it here. Now I'm bringing all these things. It may not be necessary, but I'm bringing them up so that when you find them necessary, you will know how to work with them. There are special charts where you can have those things. Let me see, something like this now. This is what we want to achieve. If you showcase this, this looks appealing. Even somebody who is sleeping, when he sees this, he will come up awake and say, what is happening? So you are making your presentation appealing. So when we come here, what is it that we are looking at? You can still link this to your, wherever you want to pick your title from or your value from. Now, let us do something here now. Assuming this is for this organization, now we can look at this point and say this is equals to what? This is our, let me also do this. And then here, we are looking at the performance over this. And then apply our percentage. So this is 110% performance. So we want to now achieve, I put this here. And then we say, let's pick our value. We pick this value. I've done the same thing. I'm just repeating what with this object. So I have clicked equal sign. I'm going over here to pick this. I enter. You see that this value is here right now. So there are a whole lot of formatting that we can do here. I can come over here and put it at the center, put it at the middle, make it bold, I can decide to do this. I can increase it. Right, so there are a whole lot of other things that we can, formatting that we can apply here. Now let's activate the formatting for this object. This is it here. Once we activate this, we can change the fill. You can see this is, I guess this is white. This is black, which color that you so much like. Now, we will always recommend that you use contrasting colors because your audience, you don't know the visual functionality. Some may have color, I don't want to say color blindness, but they may have problem distinguishing colors that are very, very close. So you can use very striking contrasting colors, especially when you have different series. So for here, we have blue here. We can change this to, let's say, I need to format my data series here. I'm coming over here to get my fill. Let's say I'm looking for a solid fill. Okay, now I've changed it to red. I can also change it to yellow. I can also change it to whatever color that I so desire. If you choose something like this, they look alike. They are not contrasting enough. So you consider the kind of audience that you are going to entertain. Okay, so having done this, I want to do more formatting on this. Why not change the text to white, something like this? Now, if I click outside, you will see that this has an outline. You may leave it, you may not leave it, but just to let you know that you can remove it. So when I click here, I go back to my format here. This is the format for your floating object. So this is the outline here. You can see it is blue. When I open it, if I apply red, you see that it's red on the outline. I can apply this, I can apply this. Now, assuming I want to apply this, what are my options? My option is that I can make that outline bigger. So I can still come over here, check my weight. I can come here, I can leave it like this if this is what I want. This all depends on what you want to do. Outline, and it goes off. Again, here, I can apply other, I can go for the preset for some kind of formatting. So you can hover each of them. If you hover over them, you see what you want, and you may choose that, or you may not choose that, depending on your choice. Okay, but it's just for you to, excuse me, it's just for you to know that these things are over here. Okay, and you don't need to be too much artistic. You are trying to convey information, so you may not really need to do so much formatting. All right, so let's choose this. Can we choose another color and see how it goes? Okay, this is the outline. Okay, so let's see. This is entirely your own business, however you want to do this. Okay, so assuming you leave this now, and let's go back to what we were doing here. Here is, okay, this is, okay, now this is where I am looking at now. Now I want to, if for any reason this changes, this will also change, like we know. Now, there are other things that we can apply here. Now, if anything you are doing, for instance, now this is my chart. If I open up this, assuming there is something I am working here, I am typing something named that's, let's say, performance indicators. And I just feel like opening this up. When I open this up, it has affected my chart. I can fix this chart so that even if I am moving the cells, the columns or the rows, it will not affect this. So let me undo that. All I need to do is to click here, and then I want to format my chart area. There are other ways you can do this anyway. So I need to go to the property. This is my property here. Now it is selected at move and size with cells. That is why if I move like this, it is moving with the cells. Let me undo. I can decide to move, but don't size with cells. What this means is, see what's going to happen to it. If I move like this, nothing is happening. I have increased this size, it is not resizing. The same thing this way, it is not resizing. But you see that this one is resized because I did not apply what I applied to this on this. Now, there's something else I want you to say. Apart from this not moving, not resizing, assuming I click here now and I increase this B, see what's going to happen to it? It has moved because the choice, the option that I chose here, let me activate it. The option that I chose here was move, but don't size with cells. However, let me undo this move. However, I can choose this and I'll say, don't move or size with cells. That means even if I come here and I increase this B, the chart remains. I can bring this one down. The chart is fixed. So this is one thing that, let me undo the two. This is also something that you may find useful while working with charts. I've seen this somehow frustrating some individuals. They want to move something and eventually scatter the good work that they had done. Okay, the next thing that I want to look at now, let me copy this and drop it here. We can apply a glow here. We can apply a reflection. We can apply a whole lot of things here. Like I said before, since you are presenting information to your people, to the audience, you may not need to do something that is distracting them from the real message which the data is conveying. But however, it's good for you to know that these things are there. Okay, so we can actually come over to, let me see. We can apply some transparency on this. What happens? You can see what's happening to it. Transparency. Okay. Now let's see what we have here. Here we have shadow. So you can check at your presets, the ones that are already there. As you are choosing, you're hovering over them, you'll be seeing some, ways that these things are changed. Okay, let me see. Now let's use another, let's insert another object. Illustration. Let me use this oval now. Now I want to apply a shadow. Is this clear? Okay, let's see another one that we can use here. Let's choose something that is contrasting also. Now we see that we have the shadow here. Let's open up this. Then you can see there. I hope this is not showing. You see where the shadow is now. When I choose this one, the shadow moves this way. And these are the different, and this one, it comes towards the left here. You can see it. Now you can choose the color of your shadow. as we can see. Now you can also apply transparency. You can see some changes. You can apply blur. Your shadow is blurred now, it's not very sharp. So now let's look at about reflection. Here you can actually, what's the distance between your shadow and your real object? So you can really use this. You can also look at the angles, okay? So then when you come to reflection here, at least we know the difference between reflection and shadow. So now let's see this. You see, this is the reflection. It's different from this. The thing is hitting on somewhere and it's being reflected. Okay, so these are the different things you can apply. Now let's look at glow. You can apply glow to this. Remember that this is our original object, right? So here you can also manipulate and do a whole lot of things. Okay, this is my transparency. So there are a whole lot of things that you can do here in your visualization. We are dealing with, we just needed you to know these things, how to apply them. And if you think it will help you to convey your message very well, you go ahead and apply them. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do now is we want to look at scenarios. And I would like to let us know that we are not able to cover the things that we plan to cover. So we have decided to throw it open so that we can have full practice session. And how we normally do it is we give you time, give you assignment, you do it, and then after 15 minutes, we come back and we ask one or two persons to project their screen and let us know what they have done, assuming everybody did well. Otherwise, we look at those ones who have challenges and then look at their areas of challenges and see what we can do. We're not able to do this right now within these 2 days. So before we continue, we would like to seek your opinion about this. Because if you look at the, sorry, what happened? Did I stop sharing that? Okay. If we look at our outline, let me see if the outline is here. Hide this, okay. There is our outline. So this is our outline here. No, not this outline. I thought I had that outline on this, what we are supposed to do. Okay, maybe I think another sheet. It's in another Excel. Okay, so I'm going to open that and then let us what we actually, no, but this thing is supposed to be here. Okay, just a minute, please. Outline. Okay, yeah, I think it's the second outline. This is what we are supposed to do. We need to discuss these scenarios. This is what I have just discussed now. And our pivot table, how we connect reports, how we make them interactive and dynamic. We will see if we can attempt that this night. And then the other scenarios, we'll need to look at them next week. So we need you to speak. Can we do that?
Hello, sir. Your question, is it that the ones you've planned for next week, whether we can bring them up to today? Is that it?
No, actually, we plan that everything will end today. Remember, it's 6 hours. Yesterday and today, three hours apart. But
Yes.
to cover what we thought we'll be able to cover. You see that yesterday we had some hitches. some of the topics that we're supposed to cover yesterday, we ended up covering them today. We are just starting today's own, and we have a whole lot of things that we have not covered. So the question is, can we have another session next week?
Yes, I totally support that.
Okay, we are 10 in this call.
For myself.
Can we hear from others, please?
It's okay. It's fine.
Okay. All right, so we have 3 persons already saying so.
It's okay by me, sir.
Okay. So we'll see what we can do, either to send you this thing directly to your emails, or we'll keep this line active. We'll let you know. Okay, so I want to, let's see if we can cover what we couldn't finish yesterday. The VLOOKUP. Let me look at the approximate. Is Jennifer, are you good to go with that, or I should go ahead?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So the VLOOKUP, the approximate. You remember when Jennifer took VLOOKUP yesterday, she mentioned that there is approximate and there is exact. Okay, so I'm going to see how we can demonstrate the exact and approximate. Okay, so assuming that we have number of ADRs and then we have, what kind of reward should that be? I know some of us will like DSA. Okay, so if we have, let me choose, okay, let me just say, if you have 5, if you have 10, all right, so let's just get this in 5 units. Let's say up to 50. Good. Then you will have, if you have 5 ADRs, you have, let's say, 10%. 10% is actually 0.1, sorry, 0.1. And then the other one is 0.5. Then the other one is 0.7. Okay, now let's just use this and get something from here. No. Okay, let's just get here. It's let's get this point. Let's get this point. Okay, so let's get this series with this. All right, so we apply our percentage here right now. Okay, so this is our table that we are making reference to. Just a minute. We are making reference to this table. Now, this is what you are going to use to judge somebody. Now, we have somebody is here. Somebody is Jibo. I don't know if there are people with this name, but I just felt I should write them. All right, so here now, Jide had, let's say, 4 ADRs. Jibo had 8 ADRs. Talen had 27 ADRs. And Jenny had 47. Now, let's see this now. Okay, so we are looking at DSA. Remember that this column here, okay, something else needs to be here. This column here is our DSA, whatever it is. We can make interpretation, but we just want to see how we can use this. This is our table now. You have received reports from these people and you need to reward them. And this is the number of ADR that they have submitted. So what you need to do now is you are using this to look at this table and give them applicable reward that is in percentage. So what we need to do is, here is our VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP. Like we were told yesterday, this is a lookup that you do vertically. And if you have ever used a directory, view it in that format. You have somebody's name that you are looking at, you place your hand there, and you begin to look horizontally, because each column is on vertical, each entries are on vertical axis. So the vertical axis are where your values are, and the horizontal one, which is the role, are where each of the elements are that you are going to look for. So when you see somebody's name, you place your hand on that row and you begin to trace until you get to maybe where you are looking for his or her telephone number. You get it there. And that telephone number is located at a particular column number. Where the person's name is number 1. Number 2 may be age. Number 3 column may be phone number. Number 4 column may be email. Then number 5 column may be where you are looking for. So those column numbers are very key when you are using VLOOKUP. So here we are asking Excel, do a VLOOKUP search. So he's asking us, what are you looking for? We are looking for 4 because somebody has given us 4 ADR and we want to reward this person. So we are putting a comma. Then it's asking, in what table array should he look for this? I say, come over here and look for this value here. Then it's saying, now, if he sees it, what column index should he return the value? The value we are looking for is the reward, and this is number 2. Remember, what we are looking for is number 1, and what we want to return is number 2. So this is our column number 2. So we write 2, we put comma. Now it's asking us, do we want a true value, which is approximate match, or do we want a false result, which is an exact match? Usually for the false, you apply it to text. Jibo and Jide, they should be exact. Now, in this our case now, we see that 4 is not here. So if we put exact, it may not give us any value. But if we see for an approximate, it will look at 4. What is the approximate value that it can assign to 4? The same thing that we apply here, 8. 8 is not here, but it will give us an approximate value that it can apply here. So we are looking for approximate. So because it's true, I can either hit my tab and bring the true, close it, and enter. Okay, this is outside this range. Now let's look for the other. For me to draw down, I want to draw our attention also to the need to lock our table, our array. So from here, I need to lock it so that I can make absolute reference to that table. Now, let's get this. Now, you will see that 8 is not here, but it has given us an approximate value of 1%. So I can change this to percentage. It's telling us that somebody that has 8 is giving us 1%. How he did it, I don't know. But for me, I would have loved to give the person maybe around that kind 4 or 3. Now, for somebody who got 37, 37 is between 35 and 40. So it is assigning 25. Now, somebody who got 47 is between 45 and 50, is assigning 33. So sometimes when you see these things being assigned, you begin to think that somebody manipulated it and then maybe it doesn't like your face. Otherwise, how can somebody got 10 and the person is assigned 5 and you that got 8 is assigning you to 1? So this is one way you can use your approximate VLOOKUP function. Now, assuming we put, let's see what will happen to this point if we change this to 4. It's still there. Let's see if we give this one 2. So it's giving us the minimum. It does not consider this very close to this. Okay, now, assuming we have 3 here, see, I am going to put 3 here so that this 4 can be captured because it's outside the range. So I say we are starting with 3s. Let's see what's going to happen to this DSA reward. It's assigning it to 2%. It's assigning it to 2%. Okay, so assuming we give here 8, let's say 8. Let's see what happens. Okay, this 4, sorry, this 4 is still outside it. Okay, now, let's say if we have 1 here, it's still giving us 2. Okay, so this is one way we can use the approximate feature of VLOOKUP. Note that this is approximate. It's not giving you the exact or the very close approximate. Okay, so this is just to round off the VLOOKUP function that we looked at yesterday. So any question on this, please? No question, I guess.
There are no questions so far in the chat box.
Okay. So we want to now look at our pivot table that we started yesterday. We just need to, I know I don't need to ask participants whether you did it or not. I want to believe you didn't do it. Can anybody prove me wrong? Did anybody attempt the pivot table that we say you complete on your own?
Yes, I earlier mentioned that I did the one for pivot table.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned so, and that you have question, but you didn't. Did you type that question?
Yes, I did. Not really a question. It was an observation.
Okay, what was it again? Before I continue.
So what I said was, you did mention that while we are formatting, if we go to the where you have format on the normal Excel sheet,
Okay.
there only the cell that you are clicking. By the time you navigate to where you have currency value, it is only that will change.
Yes.
So, but I noticed that when you highlight all the columns and go to that formatting cell,
Yes.
by the time you navigate to the currency value, all the areas you highlighted will also change.
Yes, you know, when dealing with pivot table and you want to work on the number, we say right-click inside that column that you want to apply. Right-click it, even if you have chosen only one cell. Right-click and the format from that option, and then it will apply to all the rest. However, if you are working from outside the pivot table environment and you want to apply that, you need to select all the cells in that column to apply it.
Fine. It's okay.
Okay.
All right.
So let me bring those pivot table that we worked on yesterday. so that I can show us how we can connect the reports and just a minute. Pivot table, this. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. Are you seeing the pivot table now, or you're seeing the previous one? What are you seeing now?
The previous. The previous.
Okay, the previous. So I will stop sharing that, and then let me share this introduction to pivot table. It is up right now, right?
Yes, yes, it's up.
Okay. Let me see. Shouldn't even have gone along with this one. Let me see. Inseparable tablets. Okay, let me see this. There's one I wanted to look at. Let me see them. Just a minute. I want to see, I want to work with the one that Jennifer worked with, where we have, Jennifer, was it in sorting that we had that the states? Jennifer,
Yes.
what's the sheet again? Did I pick that at all?
Is it the one with the states?
Yes.
That
What's
was yesterday's.
the conditional formatting?
That one was no conditional formatting is different. That one was
Is it
filtering.
filtering? Looks as if this is not the one. Okay, let me just pick anyone here. Let me work with this one that we have here. I wanted to see. Okay, let me just work on this right now, and let me delete this. So I have here Alt NV. Remember our shortcut to pivot table. So I am going to choose here. I want my state. Let my state come here, and next is staff. Let me pick my staff over here. Then let me pick their orders. Let me bring their orders here. Let me see if this is what I want. No, okay, let me pivot this here by here. Okay. Now, you know, the good thing about pivot table is you can pivot it. If it doesn't suit you the way you want, you can change it the other way around. You remember yesterday, we jiggled between this. Staff is under the state, but right now I can put the staff, I can put it the other way so that we can see, when we look at this, each staff, we'll see what they have produced. Now, I'm going to insert a slicer to this, my pivot table right now. So a slicer is a filtering feature that you use to filter out, you know, we just had a lesson with Jennifer where she taught us about filtering. That one is direct filtering on table array. But if we are dealing with a pivot table, we have its own feature, we have its own tool that we can use to filter. So it's either we bring the filter on here or we bring the slicer. I prefer the slicer, but you can also bring your element here. So I'm going to bring this, my slicer here. Now, your slicer is just telling you, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 headers in this table. So let's look at, let me escape from here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the things that are you can use and insert your slicer. Just the way you can apply filter on any of these columns, the column headers. So here I have staff here. So let me just choose this staff. Okay. So all of them are highlighted. So all of them are showing. However, if I want to show this Havila, it's going to show me these are the features, or so rather the values. So let me just get this way. I have this here. Now, these are the states, how this staff performed in each of these states. If I click this now, it's going to tell me that Jedediah only performed in Enugu State. Samson performed in the 4 different states. Now, what this helps you to do is I can just, now the good thing about pivot table again is by mere clicking inside it, you are going to apply in all. So I'm clicking inside here. I'm going ahead to insert let me use my pivot chart. Let me choose this, okay? So I choose this. Now, one thing I didn't tell us yesterday, there is so much to speak on pivot table. So let me just mention some of them. Like we mentioned yesterday, when you click your pivot table, like right now it is selected, we have this analyze, okay, rather it's a pivot chart that is selected. It's the same thing. So if I click here, it becomes pivot table tools. Click here, it becomes pivot chart tools. But I want to look at this point. Now, this is derived from our original, this thing here, our table here. I'm trying to get this table out here. Okay, this our table here. I want to show us something now. Okay, assuming we change these figures, assuming we make any changes here, especially the amount, the figures. Now, I'm going to make some changes here. The reason why this is distorted is because of the filter that we apply here. These things are hidden. Let me see. Okay, it's off now. So these things, if I change these figures, now let me change these figures right now. What we have here is between 16,000 and so on and so forth. So I'm going to change all of them. Let me say I am using a round between. I want to have them in millions. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 2 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Apply to all. Now you will see that these figures have increased. But this figure here in my pivot table, they have not reflected the new change here. So let me fix this so that it does not have to be changing. All right, it has not changed. Now you can continue to work with this pivot table with this value. But anytime you have made a change in your original table, you can command Excel to go and refresh and pick the current values from this table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click inside this my pivot table to activate the tools. So I'm going to click here, analyze, and right here I have my refresh. So when I click this refresh, you'll see that it has changed. It has changed. This wasn't what it was before. It has changed. Okay, so I just felt I should let us know that. Now let's go back to what we are working on. Now you will also see that this has been affected. Let me see. Let's reduce this. Okay. Now this is for Samson. This is for Sharon. This is for Tehila. All of them are displaying the various values that they have. So this is what makes, if you are making your presentation, you can decide to showcase how each staff fared, how each state fared, how each facility fared. Assuming these are states, assuming these are whatever variables that you are looking at, you can use this. You speak on this, you come over here, you speak, this is the total value. It made this and this in this state, it made this and this here, it made this and this. You are depicting this. And also note that this is also changing. Now, one other thing you can do with a pivot table in your data analysis, I can clean this up. You can see, because this is a pivot chart, we see these fields. So I can hide all of them, hide all field buttons. You can see the moment I click this, this is going to go off, this is going to go off. So hide. They have gone off. Like I told you, not in all cases that I like these grid lines. I click the grid lines to remove them. Here, because I always want my values to be, the data value to be on them, I can remove the vertical primary axis. It goes off. I've recovered some space, okay? So I can now, let me see what I can do. I am going to say this is equals to this. All right, so I can now link this to this. Now see what's going to happen. If I click Jedediah, this chart has also changed because it's picking value from here. And we are seeing that Enugu is here also. If I click Samson, Samson is here. Samson is also shown on this chart because whatever I am using this filter to showcase is also seen on this part. All right, so this is one way we can use this, our filter, to make our presentation to be dynamic. Okay, so the other thing that we can apply is the timeline. Now let's see how the timeline works. So having clicked here, I'm also going to click under my analyze and then see my timeline here. So when I click this, it's date. So I pick this, I okay it. Now, this is for all the period for this person. There are a lot of things I can do here. I may decide to, let's see, this is in months. What if I decide to put them in quarters? So I have Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Now what this does is, I can arrange this. I can bring these things together like this and bring them like this. I can actually make them look like this. I can even, I can group them so that when I move one, I move the other. Now, all these are all selected, but I want to select for Q1. Now, you see, this is the value for Sharon for Q1. Let's see Q2. These are the respective values for Q1. So when you're making your presentation, you can be making presentation on one person across the different quarters within the reporting, within your database. Here we are looking at, this is 2000, okay? Now let's see, do we have any other year? Okay, let's see if we have, let's pick the years. It's only 2020 that we have. So assuming you have several, your data is made up of different data from different years. When you click this here, you will see the various years here. If you want, you can use this. So you can actually be making your presentation. You see that your presentation is dynamic. You are presenting here. You are not telling them next slide because all these things, they will be on your dashboard. And then you are clicking, you are clicking. Now you can also, assuming this is one key indicator that we are looking at, the total order generated by each staff across the respective states. You may have another thing that you are looking at, maybe the burn rate for each of these staff, either the burn rate or the expenditure. So you can have another graph that is telling you the expenditure. So if you have that expenditure, you can actually get another graph. Now, I want to let us know that we can actually get something like that here when we use a calculated field. See what I'm going to do? I'm going to get right here, I'm going to click my analyze. I'm going to get my calculated field. What I want to do now is our original table does not have expenses. So, but we are going to introduce expenses, and then we are going to define it. We are going to define it by the order. Let it be that the expenses is 1% of the order. 1% of the order. That is not in our original table, but we are going to introduce it in our pivot table using the calculated field. So what we are going to do is I'm going over here. Remember, I clicked on the pivot table to activate the tools. Then I have my analyze. I have clicked the analyze to open it up. So I'm going to pick these field items and sets. When I click it, it opens up to my calculated field and I'm choosing this. What do I want? What is the field that I want to add? I want to add expenses. So I've written that. Because this expenses is a calculated value, I'm going to define it. And that value is this order. I've selected the order here. I'm going to insert it, and it's going to be multiplied by 0.01 to give me 1%. So the moment I add this, I okay it. You said there is data. Okay. Now, yesterday I said I was going to tell us one of the problems that we can encounter when we paste our pivot table on the same sheet that we are working. What it's telling me now is that the next figure that we have created is supposed to be here. This is I, this is J. There is no other column here. But then there is a value here. It has dictated there is a value here. So do I want it to override it? If I say no, I'm going to decide what should happen. But let me go ahead and choose yes. It has replaced this, and then come and see what's happening to your graph, your chart. It's no longer giving you the name of that person there now. It's not giving you the real thing that has taken this position here now. So that is one issue that we need to avoid. All right, so let me see if I can undo that. Okay, I may not be able to undo that. So these are some of the things that you need to avoid. I'm trying to undo, I cannot undo it. Okay. Okay, that also brings me to the point that there are certain things you cannot undo while working in Excel. This is one of them. The other one is when you are working at the tab level. When you insert a tab, excuse me, or when you delete a tab, you cannot undo it. If you mistakenly deleted a tab and you want to undo it, you want to recover it, the best way is not to save your work and close the workbook. You close the workbook, Excel will ask you, do you want to save the changes? Say no. Because if you say no, you will save that delete that you have deleted that sheet. And unfortunately for you, if you had done several things without saving, all those ones will also be gone. So it is good that as you are doing, you are saving, so that when you hit a hitch, you can easily close your book without saving. All right, so I guess what we need to do now is we need to somehow get this name linked to another place so we can write something somewhere here and link it back. That's, by the way, we have known how to link that name, but now we have just learned how to do a calculated field here. So what we have done is we have decided to get expenses, which is this. So here, this may not be good for us, so we can actually change this and say staff expenses. It makes more sense than the sum of expenses, okay? So we are looking at, this is the expenses made by this. This is the expenses made by this. Now, you will see that right here, we have the expenses, because this table, this chart is picking from this point. So whatever you have added here is coming here. Okay, I think I made a mistake in this stuff. Let me remove the R here, and automatically it corrects here. So as you are checking this, everything is running here. Now, if I like now, I can duplicate this. I can duplicate this, and now in this particular one, I can remove this. Okay, let me leave this here. So I have these expenses here. Now, I am going to now insert a new pivot chart just to speak on the expenses. So this is expenses. So you see that I have two charts here. Now, if I don't, this thing is disturbing me, this pivot chart feed is disturbing me, I can deactivate it. I can show and not to show. So let me remove it. Anytime I want, if I click here now, it will not show until I come over here and I click to show the field. So because I want to work with space, I've done that. Now, let's see what happens here. If I choose this, you see that the two charts are moving. So here, let me remove, is the two of them. I need only order here. I want my order to be on this chart, and I want my expenses to be on the second chart. I want to have two different charts. So I'm going to activate the panel. So I click here, I'm back. And what am I going to do? To remove my expenses. Since I have expenses, I'm going to remove these expenses here. Let me remove it here. So I've removed that. So I can deactivate this again. So right now, let me arrange this very well. I have this here. I have this here. I have this over here. Then I have this, and let me reduce this so that I can get space, and this here. All right. Okay, so this is where we are now. Remember that you need not to be working on the same plain sheet here. You can bring all of them here to your dashboard here, just like we did before. Okay, so number of order. Did I do this one now or before? I think this is before, right? Okay, not here. Okay, so if I choose this, see all of them here, they are changing. Let me work them side by side. So I can also clean this. I need to clean this. Sorry, I need to hide. No. I want to hide, yes. I want to hide all of them. I want to remove this, my primary vertical axis. Okay. So this is what we have. Both of them are interactive. So if I click here, both of them are changing. So all I need to do is to link back what this is speaking to, which is an expense order, and this is let me see, what is this? This is Jedediah, this is expenses, and okay, let me put the values so that we can be looking at the values. Data label. Okay, so this is, and then let me remove the grid lines. Okay, so I have 80 something here, and here, let me add my data label here. So let me bring my Naira value here, number format, currency, down here. Okay, okay, this, I have that. So here automatically becomes this. I want, this one is 2. Let me expand this so that the Naira value Naira is on top. Good. So I want it like this. So this is, we have done a lot of things today with our pivot table. We've been able to introduce our calculated field. We've been able to introduce our slicer, our timeline. We've been able to generate 2 different graphs, charts that are dynamic and they are connected. Now let's see our report connections. This is our filter connection. They are already connected here. The reason why they are connected is because the pivot table here is coming from here. So that's why it's connected. I can have several other pivot tables, and once I connect them, I can use one slicer and one timeline to connect all of them and be displaying. So on my dashboard, I can say for Havila, this was what Havila spent. Havila earned. He was able to get 24 million from Enugu and got 9 million in Kano. And this was also what he spent in the respective states for Q3. Now let's see for Q1. This is Q1. This also speaks to what this person has done, both in terms of income and expenditures. Okay, so these are the ways that you can use this to build your dashboard, make them interactive and make them dynamic. Okay, so at this point, I would like to pause and then find out if there are questions. Any questions?
Let me check the chat box. Okay. There is nothing in the chat box so far.
Okay. All right. So we ought to have taken a break intermittently. It's not easy sitting for, this is close to 3 hours now. So Jennifer, let's see those that are remaining. Our ladies, are they still here?
Okay, let me check.
Choma is here.
Choma is here. I think the other is Debian network challenges, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so this one that there are no questions, is it that everybody understood or nobody understood anything? So we'd like to call names now. You tell us what you think about this session. For us at Havron, we are not just eager to just teach, but we are eager for people to acquire knowledge. So we will encourage feedbacks that will let us know, yes, people are following, people are catching up. Now, the thing about Excel is that you get better when you use it. If you don't use it, even the little that you know will go. Bala is here. Bala can testify to that. Bala, how far? Bala keeps telling us that Excel is something that if you don't use, within a minute it goes. Yes, Bala, you have unmuted. Can you speak, please? He seems to be speaking, but I am not hearing him. Does anyone hear him? Jennifer, can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him either.
Okay. Well, we can't hear him, but I think he can hear us. Okay, so the next person I want to call on now is Maureen.
Hello, are you hearing me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah. I said that really I understand the essence of this lecture is to practice what you have learned, because in the previous classes I assume that I have learned, but when I come to practice it, it become a challenging to me. But
Okay.
nowadays, whatsoever I learn after class, I used to go over it for proper understanding. And I recommend, or I urge other participants, maybe those that are new, when I have the problem, I call you, you put me through, and I used to feel so happy. At
Okay.
least some of my testimony about.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bala. Like he has said, there are situations you may face at office, and after such training, after such sessions, you believe that you have what it takes to surmount that challenge. Eventually, you discover that what you thought you knew, you didn't know. So you can put a call to us. Jennifer is a call away. I am a call away. We'll be willing to support you, because that is the whole essence of such sessions. We want people to be very, very good in the and keeping at it also. We also want you to one day become one of us, a facilitator. Then we can also help us to build a community that we want to build. Okay, so yes, Chima was supposed to say something. Hello, Chima, are you there? Okay, if Frederick, I think he sent a chat or something. Yes, he said quite clear. Okay, so Pat, hello Pat, are you there? Pat has left. Samuel, Jibo, who has left again?
Okay. I think everyone is, I think maybe in people's network, lots of them have gone.
Okay. Sometimes network can be so crazy that makes you feel bad. Okay. Jennifer, do you have something else you want to treat? Or I should just get one more and then we'll go.
I I don't understand.
Okay, you are done with all your topics, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now let's look at, yeah, hello?
Yes, I'm here. I think something happened to the network.
Okay.
I'll need to actually go through everything again to really have good grasp of it.
Okay.
Yes, I'll create immediate at the end of it all. I'll take time to go through the videos, practice them, and have good grammar skills.
Okay, okay, okay.
For me, it's absolutely clear. I'll master.
Okay. I think network is actually a challenge. Now for, well, we don't have a full house. We would have loved to ask this question because we are trying to see if we can hold a physical session in Abuja. That may be just applicable to those who live in Abuja so that people who may have challenge with network can actually see that as an option. Anyway, we'll see what we can do. We can throw a survey out there to see how many people that may be interested to take those courses. Okay, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 persons now. Okay, so let's see what we can do. Okay, now I want to, let's see, do we have anything in this COVID? What is the question? There is a simulated data that we want to look at. Sample collection performance in percentage. Okay, so let me stop sharing and then let me share this. The new one is up, right? I guess. Is my screen up?
Yes, your screen is up. You're showing a table.
Okay. Now, this is simulated data for, we just call this COVID-19 data. And we have these hospitals on this column. We have the number of samples they collected for tests. We have the date that they collected the test. We have the male, excuse me. We have the male sample. We have the female. How many of them turn out positive? How many of them female turn out positive? How many male died? How many female died? This is all that we have in this table. And we have some questions here. So with a special chart, display quarterly performance cascade on a dashboard. So number one question is sample collection performance in percentage. What percentage of females was positive? What percentage of males was positive? What percentage of females died and what percentage of males died? We don't have all these things here. We're only giving the absolute numbers, but right now we're expected to get the percentages. So I want to ask, who can tell us, who can give us an idea of how to work around this task? Anyone before we point?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm thinking if we can get the sample collection performance in terms of the numbers, we can now, from the numbers, convert to percentages.
So thank you. But then we want you to lead us now. So what's the next step? You are telling me I am doing what you want me to do. Tell me what you want us to do. How do we go about it?
So now we have the male samples and the female samples. So we can first of all get the aggregate for the male samples and the female samples. Then we have the total for the male, the total for the female.
Okay, so where do we put that? We should create a column here,
Yes.
right here. I thought we would be able to get our pivot table first. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. So we can get all of that from the pivot table.
Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to get our pivot table. So Alt and V. Let's get it on our existing. Let's put it here. Which one is external source? These things are not from any external source, please. Okay, so this is our pivot table. So this question number 1 is talking about sample collection performance, isn't it?
Yes.
What do we have as sample performance? Okay, so we can get the unique hospitals and see how far they have done. Is that okay?
Yes, fine.
So this is our hospital. We bring our hospital.
So rows.
Yes.
Then the total sample into values.
Total sample. What do we have here? This is total sample. What now? Let's see. What do we have here? This is the
Okay,
target.
that is the target, total sample target.
Yes. Okay, so we get our target, and then at least let's see what that has given us. Okay, just so this is what we have. The respective hospitals, these are their respective targets.
Targets, okay.
But our performance, we are going to look at
their achievement now in terms
yes.
of.
So we need to look at the achievement, but the achievement is not here. What do we do? We have the male, this
Male and female. Okay.
You see, this is male and this is female. So the two of them is what gives us what they have achieved.
Yes.
So how do we bring that here? Are you
getting male sample and female sample? We bring it again to the next column
okay.
under values.
You think we should do it like this?
Yes.
Okay, so what next?
Then we can sum.
How do we sum?
Sum of male. Sum is already there.
Sorry, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. I can see it.
Bala is not seeing my screen. Freddie, can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, Bala, maybe it's network. I guess maybe your own network. Okay, so let's continue. So you said, okay, we bring it there. What are we going to do?
See if we can add both.
Male and female.
That is what I'm trying to.
So where do we add it? You can't remember?
I can't remember anymore.
You remember our calculated field where we can put in a calculation?
Okay. I think
So
when
for
this session I went off.
okay. So what we can do is, I need someone else to try. Who else is on the call? Pat. Hello, Pat. Okay, Bala, can you see our screen now? Can you see the screen? We are in interactive session. I think we have about 15 minutes to go. So we'll just do this first question and then we close for the day. But we need responses from participants. Okay, so Frederick, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so to get that calculated field, we may not necessarily need to bring these things inside, okay?
All right.
We may not necessarily need to bring this male and female. So we can remove the male, we can remove the male, we can remove the female. So long as we have one here, we can just go straight to our calculated field here. And then let's define what we want. We want sample achievement, isn't it? So we can
Yes.
sample achievement. Let's just represent it with this. Sample achievement is what? Male,
Male, female.
good. So here we have male here. We can double click this.
Okay.
And we say plus. We double click
I
this also.
missed this section. Okay.
So we add it.
Okay.
Okay, so it comes directly here now.
Yes.
Now that we have this sample achievement, we can now get the percentage performance.
Performance, of course.
This over this, isn't it?
Yes.
So we'll go back to our calculated field again. And then what do we need now? Sample performance. And how are we defining that sample performance? Is achieve.
Sample achievement over sample total target.
So sample achievement over sample total sample target, isn't it?
Yes.
So we do this, we add it, we okay it. It comes here.
Okay.
So we can right click here now.
To get the percentages.
Exactly. So we go over to number format, get our percentage. Let's choose one
Decimal.
So you see now that we have chosen 1 point and we right click to get it a number format. We are applying it only in one cell. It's going to duplicate in the rest. So
okay.
Everything is out here.
In percentage.
Now, you will see that in some cases we have overachievement.
Okay.
So you will see that these are errors.
Mm.
The reason why it is error is because you cannot test more than the number that you, okay, this is target. Okay,
It's a target, yes. They overshoot their target.
Yes, it's possible. Yes, we can do this.
It's a possibility. But the total target was not achieved.
Yes, because there are some deficits in
Yes.
some hospitals. So this is how we can do this. Now we can simply represent this now in a chart. Okay, so here we don't need these ones. We only use this now to give us a cue. So this is the last one we need, isn't it? So we can remove this one, we can remove this one, we can remove this one, then we have our percentage. So we can go ahead here and click our this.
Okay.
Now I want to tell us something about this 3D. This 3D it looks fine, but there are a lot of things that you cannot do with it when you are manipulating. Maybe
Okay.
time we are meeting,
Okay.
see how we can change, we can manipulate the charts. But once you are using 3D, that flexibility is reduced.
Okay.
So here we have this, and we can go ahead and apply those things that we learned. So
Okay.
take this off. Then I'm going to remove this just to part of what we have done, but there are some few things I just want us to look at. Okay, so having done this now, this is for each of the hospitals and these are their values. So we have done number one, sample collection performance in percentage. So all these now are in percentage. So let's add our data labels. You can see it now.
Yes.
Good. So here now, let's see, assuming we take this to this point, and here, sample collection. So here, we want to say this is equals to, okay, I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I want to see, where is this? Is it here? Is it here? This. I thought okay, is this one now? M. Okay, this is the M now, the second one on M. So what I need to do here is I'm going to do this, I'm picking this. So this is now sample collection performance. You can see it.
Okay.
All right. So I guess this is where we'll stop for today. We would want you to maybe during the week, we are going to send you what we want you to do with those. We have sent you the workbook containing all this. So we'll give you an assignment to just go through them. And then by next week, when we come back, we'll now discuss more on scenarios. We have covered a lot that we need to cover. The next thing that is required is to begin to do practice just like we did today. So by that time, we want majority of people to be active, make it participatory. So are there questions?
This
Jennifer, yes?
this particular data that we work with now, has it been sent to our mail so that we can now try our hands on the remaining?
Yes, all of them are there.
Okay, fine. It's okay.
Before the session started.
It's all right.
Yes. All right, so thank you, everyone. Jennifer, a word for them.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. And have a good night.
All right. So thanks, everyone. Have a very lovely week ahead. Bye.